Howdy, folks. Andrew here. Popcorn and whiskey. I am the face who runs the place. Little bit different tonight. I'll explain to you why in a second. Okay. And for those who complain because I got to do all my opening work, so to speak, I've already got it done. Man, I'm telling you. See that little intro I have at the beginning? That's it. I do my stuff there, so you don't have to see the behind the scenes stuff. So I don't want to hear any complaining with anybody. Hey, here for the first time, thanks a lot. There's a link in the show notes, in the description, in the comments, whatever platform you are watching this on. If you want to come on with me, click the link. Let's talk. We can talk about anything you want. Be good, or I'll knock you out of here. It's just that simple. No, I'll talk to anybody. We can do anything. So it's not a problem there. So tonight, a little bit different because usually I have some whiskey with me. But earlier tonight, I was with a couple of folks and we had a glass of wine or two, and I didn't want to start mixing stuff. And so tonight, popcorn and whiskey is different. It's going to be a little bit of vino and whiskey. I will be sipping it like my whiskey. Right now, I have some white Zinfandel. If you look at it, yes, it's in a plastic cup. So what? Yes, it has some ice. That way it'll stay cool. I don't mind having ice in my wine. If you don't like it, don't do it. All right. Emerald. The Emerald Live, the cook, Emerald Lagasse, I think his last name is. He once said, and this is something my dad has always said, and something I've always said as well. People like to pair different wines with different foods. You want this kind of wine with this kind of food, so on and so forth. White wine with fish, red wine with pasta, blah, blah, blah. You know what? If you enjoy white Zinfandel, have it with your fish. If you enjoy a Chardonnay, have it with your pasta. Who cares? Does it really matter? People say, well, it enhances the flavor here, enhances the flavor there. Who the F cares? Drink what you enjoy. This evening, and it's the only one I had in the house is why, I have some white Zinfandel. So there you go. That's what I had. No whiskey tonight, no popcorn. I am completely out of popcorn in the house. Go figure. So I don't have the popcorn and whiskey going on. So what are we going to talk about tonight? Wow. I had so much on my mind to talk about, different things going on, but I want to focus a little bit tonight. I want to focus on the youth, today's Utes, the Utes. Yeah, the Utes. You know, if you know, you know. The Olympics and maybe other stuff. Because why? Because the Olympics are going on right now, and it's Saturday evening. They are going through a lot of the final day of the Olympics of the track meets, the track and field events. Final day. I actually watched them earlier today, so I know what's going on. And I got to tell you, this was exciting because I love the 4x400 relays, and they were doing them today. Probably my favorite events. That in the cycling, I like the cycling events. I like a lot. I try to watch as much as I could this year. I wasn't going to at first because of the horrendous opening ceremonies. My God, was it horrible. Outside of the last half hour where they did the laser light show at the Eiffel Tower, which was great, and Celine Dion singing, which was spectacular. Outside of that, it was horrible. But I said, you know what? I need to watch the Olympics. Why? Because it's not about the opening and closing ceremonies. It's not about that. It's about the athletic competition. And yes, I tear up at some of the competitions. Yes, I do. I think it's fantastic to see some of these. Do I have my favorites? Yeah. Do I develop favorites as the Olympics are going? Yeah. Do I like and dislike folks as the Olympics are going? Yeah. Do I have any rhyme or reason why I like somebody and don't like somebody else? Nope. I have no rhyme or reason for it, and you shouldn't either. These folks, regardless if they come in first place or last place at their respective events, they are highly tuned athletic specimens. It's just that simple. You can make fun of the last place person all you want, but the last place person is in the Olympics. You're not. Okay? Keep that in mind. Now, that being said, I keep looking over this way because I have the TV on over there, watching some of the Olympic highlights here. It's Saturday night. NBC has Olympic highlights. I think the NBC nightly coverage has been horrendous. Honestly, the daily coverage is good. The nightly coverage has been horrendous. They're still talking about gymnastics. And don't get me started with gymnastics. Now, just say this, and I won't say anything more. Gymnastics. The athletes in the gymnastics are fantastic. Probably some of the best athletes on the planet. Not taken away from the athleticism at all. But gymnastics is a popularity contest. Simple as that. You can't tell me it's not. It is a popularity contest. It is judged by somebody else. Same thing with diving. It is judged by human beings, so it's a popularity contest. Anything that is judged by human beings is a popularity contest. Sorry, it is. You want to debate me? Come on and debate me with it, and we can talk about that. Okay? Because I have all kinds of, I don't want to say ammunition, but I have all kinds of things that I can say about that, and we'll leave it there. Okay. So we'll talk more about the Olympics in a second. Something else I wanted to bring up today is today's youth. The way these youngsters, let me say, when I say youngsters, I mean high school and below age. Okay. So 18 and below. Some of these kids, and I noticed this because earlier tonight I was, my mom has a convertible, a convertible car, and so I get asked to drive the car in different parades that carry different people in the convertible. Okay, so while I'm there, of course I'm incognito because everybody's looking at the people I'm carrying, which is fine. I mean, I don't want to be the star of attention. Of course, that's not the purpose of it. But I get to see everything out there incognito because no one pays attention to the driver, which is the way it should be. But I'm seeing all these youths out there, the youths. There's zero, and I mean zero pride in these folks. 50, 60, 70 pounds overweight easily, stuffing their face full of crap, walking around with the stupid shirts on, dirty, barefoot. I mean, when I say stupid shirts, I mean when you're flipping somebody off, when you're saying vulgar language on your shirt, walking around in public, you have zero pride in yourself. Zero. I'm sorry. Talk to me about that if you want to, and come on with that. But it's disgusting, and the way these kids look, body wise, and yes, if you want to call it body shaming, you call it whatever you want to. Yeah, but Andrew, that's the way the kids want to look. No, they don't. No, think about when we were youth. Think about when we were back in the day. How often or there weren't that many heavy kids. I would say heavy, I mean obese. The obesity wasn't nearly what it is today. Were there obese kids? Yeah. So what? But now today, I'd say it's like 8 out of 10. It's unbelievable the obesity out there and the lack of self-respect, lack of self-pride. These folks don't even want to clean themselves up and go out. I mean, that's one of the things that we used to do all the time, and we wanted to impress the opposite sex. You know, we were on the hunt. You know, I don't care if you're 13, 14, 15 years old, you were quote unquote on the hunt. You didn't know what he was going to do, and of course, but you were on the hunt, so you wanted to look your best, or at least you wanted to have a little bit of self-respect, self-pride. Kids nowadays don't. I don't get it. But I've also heard, excuse me, I've also heard that, and I've read different reports that, and I don't want to say it's sexual activity because that's not the even though that's the subject I want to talk about, that's not what I'm talking. That's not the direction I want to go. Is having sexual activity, but pursuing it. It's almost non-existent nowadays. Very, 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 very few teenagers, we'll call them, are pursuing that. It is something that they don't want to do. I'm going to assume that it's one, because of the way they look and they don't realize it. Two, because of all the things they've been told about the Me Too movement out there. Again, I could be wrong with this, but I don't know why. But when you start talking to younger adults and past the teenage at 20, 21, 22 years old, a lot of them are saying, I'm just not interested in doing that. Are you kidding me? When I was 17, 18 years old, that's all we wanted to do. Did we always get it? No, of course not. And I'm not talking male. I'm talking both male and female. All right, one of those kind of things. Um, Hi, Brenda. How you doing? Brenda, parents have become soft on constructive discipline on kids these days. Absolutely. Absolutely. And how often do you see a kid cutting grass? And I live out in the middle of a country, so small town. There were kids cutting grass all the time with a push mower. You hardly get it now. And you go to buy some of these younger kids' houses. By younger kids, I'm talking these are in the early mid 20s. There's zero pride. I mean, the houses are disgusting. I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm saying it's a truthful way. There's zero pride. You see vehicles, kids driving vehicles. They're not clean. They're not. I mean, they're rust buckets, which is fine if that's all they can afford. That's great. That's all I could afford when I was that age, is a rust bucket. But it was clean. I had pride in my car. Man, I wanted my car to be spotless. All my friends were the same way. Our cars needed to be spotless. Nowadays, they can care less if the car's clean or not. They can care less on their appearance. They can care less on health wise. Yeah, none of us were focused on health back in the day. I even us the athletes, and I was an athlete, if you want to call it that. Baseball, cross country. Yes, I was an athlete. Did we worry about our nutrition consumption? No, because at that time we can eat, drink whatever we wanted to, and don't have to worry about it. Here's I'm drinking wine. There you go. So it was a big. I don't even know which one to call it, but it was just. It's just different nowadays, and when I see this, it makes me sad because there's zero self pride in it. And if you didn't know, I do teach at a high school. And the class I teach is I'm not going to get into the why I teach or how I teach it or anything of that sort. But there are kids in the class who need a first of all, they need a kick in the ass, but they need a someone who's going to jump up there and help them understand that self pride is huge in being successful in whatever endeavor they pursue. Self pride is huge. And I think it's a lost cause nowadays, and I don't know why it's like that, but kids just don't want to pursue self pride, and it starts at home because they don't know the difference. And I always go back to this: we in my household, my father and I, especially, we used to raise hunting dogs. They were in cages all day long. They were hunting dogs, so if you're the type of person that has to have the dog in the house all the time, sorry, we come from different worlds. Hunting dogs belong outside. That's just the way it is. They're in cages all the time. You let them out to run, of course. You do that on a daily basis, 2 or 3 times a day. Let them out to run, do their stuff, feed them water, make sure they have plenty of food, plenty of water, shelter, so on and so forth. Great, fantastic. But here's the thing: that's what the dogs knew. When it was time to quit running, so to speak, or to go back in their cages, snap your finger, whistle, whatever you did, clap your hands, however it was a command that you did. The dogs knew to go back to their cage. Why? Because that's all they knew. Good, bad, right, or wrong, that's not the point. The point is that's all they knew. So unless you train them differently, they didn't know anything differently. Same thing with kids, same thing with adults, especially with kids. If they don't know any differently, if that's even proper English, they're not going to do it differently. So if a kid sees his parents slobs, dirty, no self-respect whatsoever, that's all the kid knows. So that's what the kid's going to assume life is like. Think about it. You know, are there kids who are not like that? Of course there are. There are kids who um, pay attention to their health, not so much the eating wise, but okay, the way they dress, the way they present themselves, the grooming, the hygiene, so on and so forth. Yeah, those kids, they have the proper upbringing, proper upbringing, proper upbringing. And no, I'm not saying that I am a perfect. I am not even a parent, so I can't speak to that. I have seen enough where I know the parents and I know the kid, and the kids usually follow what the parents do. Usually, not all the time, but usually, if the parents are in a position where they have zero self pride, guess what? Their kids are going to have zero self pride. It's a loop. It's going to just keep going, and somebody's going to have to break that cycle. Some kids break the cycle. Some kids don't. Some kids start the cycle. Brenda, let's see. We are Gen X. Um, the feral generation that raised ourselves out of the house and getting our asses kicked by our parents for everything when in the house. I don't know what you mean by that. There was discipline in my house, absolutely. My parents were extremely um, vigilant, if you will, with especially with the self pride. House was immaculate. The mom had a flower garden out in the yard, which was great. Dad had a garden. Always kept his vehicles as clean as can be. Wanted the yard to look nice and presentable. Things of that sort. All right. No, we didn't have couches on the front porch. We didn't have grass that was 2 feet tall in the yard. Things were picked up in the house. Things were clean. There wasn't dirty dishes piled up everywhere. Oh geez, I went to somebody invited me over to their kid's birthday party one time. This was unbelievable. I'm not going to say who, because in case they ever listen, I'm not trying to call them out. The kid's birthday party. So people were coming over to the house for the birthday party. And it wasn't outdoors, it was an indoor party. I walked in, there were dishes piled up, dirty dishes on the sink, on the counter. It was disgusting. Went to another place. The people said that they were been cleaning for 3 days. I mean, there was dirt on the floor, dog hair, dirty dishes. There was plates and dishes all around the house and cups and empty beer cans. How can you be cleaning up for 3 days and that stuff is still there? Is beyond me. Not judging anybody. If that's where you want to live, fantastic. But that's part of life. How do you do that? I don't get it. It's a part of life. I'll even tell you a story about what I once did. What's happened to me? I'm watching the women's 1500 here. Oh, this is cool. Somebody's coming into. Wow, that's good. My first house. I lived in Indianapolis. Bought a house. Love the house. Great, a little bitty house. Nothing spectacular. And I was a bachelor. Of course, did not have a roommate at the time. And yes, I was a slob. How I got to be a slob is beyond me because my house I grew up in was not even remotely slobbish, if you will. I was a slob. Not it wasn't dirt everywhere because I kept it clean, but clothes. I do the laundry and I leave the clothes in the basket, or I take them out and put them on the chairs and the couches and stuff like that. Not to dry because they were already dry because I was going to fold them later, get back to it later and stuff of that sort. I'm out at a grocery store or something. I see a friend of mine. I was involved in the dance world. I was a swing dancer. I saw a friend of mine, very attractive young lady, my age, young lady my age. There wasn't anything in the sexual nature going on with it. No, it was just two friends that we knew each other from the dance world. Okay, keep that in mind. And we were talking, and I even forgot how it happened, but she needed something from my house or something like that. So she followed me home, or she needed something from me, and it was at my house. So she followed me home, and we're in a driveway. I'm thinking to myself, "Oh my God, my house is an absolute mess right now." And I didn't think about that until I got in the driveway and she followed me. So we're sitting in her driveway. I said, she says, "Why aren't you going to invite me in?" I'm thinking, oh man, I invited her in, and I was so embarrassed of all this slobbishness. If her intentions were to make a move on me, which I look back now and I'm thinking that could have been it. And again, she's very attractive. We weren't anything in a boyfriend girlfriend thing, but hey, both of us mid-30s, both of us single. Why not? You know, I look back now and that could have been a signal for her wanting me to do something or make a move on her or something. But when she walked in, it was so slobbish. There's no way, even if I wanted to pursue it, and that wasn't even on my mind because everything else was happening. Like, oh, geez, he's going to see this house. It's an absolute mess. I made a pact with myself at that point. My house will always be picked up, even if I have to throw everything in the closet somewhere, just in case I have somebody unexpectedly come over. My house will be picked up. It will not look slobbish from now on. Has that helped? Yeah, it has. I've had other situations where it really helped. So, I mean, if you want to keep a closet, just you throw everything in and once a week take it all out and put it in the right place, go for it. But my word, that's just don't be slobbish. You know, if anybody watching this, you're going to put yourself in that position. Don't be slobbish. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the Olympics. Wow. All kinds of stuff happening with the Olympics. First of all, I gotta say this: the Olympics. I was talking with the guys earlier tonight. Some guys. These Olympic Games, the amount of, we'll call it beauty in these games. I don't know so much about the guys, but the chicks. Yes, I said chicks, deal with it. The chicks are unbelievably hot in these games. Wow, are these girls good looking? And I don't care what event it's in. There are attractive girls everywhere, and more so than I can remember in the past. Maybe I'm just paying attention to that more, but these girls, there are so many girls who are wow, as I got to say. And you can start talking about any country, any event, and you're going to find girls that are hotter than all get out. The U.S. girls, wow. Gabby Thomas, wow. Sydney McLaughlin, whatever her name is. Wow. Some of these running girls, fantastic. The cyclist girls, the swimmers, of course, they are knockouts. The beach volleyball, of course. You know, guys watch that for different reasons, but we won't get into that. There's one particular one school from the Netherlands, and people are going to look at me and like, who, what, who? Her name is Femke Bol, Femkebole, excuse me, no E, Bol, Femke Bol. I personally think she is a knockout babe. Wow. If I were in my mid-20s again, wow. I mean, I'm old enough to be her dad, if not older than that. She's 24 years old. But my word, is she something? She runs the hurdles, 400 hurdles. She is battling Sydney McLaughlin all the time. McLaughlin recently got married. Her last name is a hyphenated last name. I forget what it is. But I think Femke is the bomb. My word, is she so precious. Femke, if you ever watch this, send me a message just to say, tell me that you saw this, and I can have you on here. She's from the Netherlands. Oh, will I ever meet her? Hell no, I'll never meet her. Even if I did, there's nothing to pursue in a romantic wise. So, you know, can I dream? Absolutely, I can dream. Anybody can dream. You can be a 90-year-old guy thinking about the 25-year-old chickie. Absolutely, or vice versa. 95-year-old woman thinking about the 25-year-old hunky of a guy. You can dream all you want. But no, the beauty of the Olympics is unmatched this year compared to other Olympics, if you ask me. Maybe because it's more standing out in my mind. I'm a huge Mary Decker Slaney fan, or Mary Slaney it is now. Back in the 80s and early 90s, she was a runner. If you know anything about track and field, you know who she is. Fantastic. But beauty wise, wow. The athleticism this year, I don't know if it matches other years. Now, the swimming, yeah, especially the guy swimming, records were broken left and right in the guy swimming. I'm not so much about the women's. I didn't pay attention as much, but I know that Michael Phelps, if you're into the Olympics or know anything about the Olympics at all, you know Michael Phelps has set all kinds of records. I heard a stat today. Now, I have not looked this up personally, so I don't know. But Michael Phelps, he no longer holds any world records. They've all been broken. And he was like the darling of the last two Olympics, last three Olympics, wasn't he? Something like that. All the records have been broken. So I gotta believe it's been in the last couple of years, all the records have been broken. And I gotta believe a lot of them were broken this year in the Olympics, which was great. The 400-meter hurdles for the ladies. That's one time around the track, jumping hurdles every, I don't know, 20 yards, 20 meters, something like that. I guess every 40 meters because there's 10 hurdles. I think, or maybe 9 hurdles, whatever it is. The world record got broken by Sydney McLaughlin. Her and Femke Bol were supposed to go head-to-head match up. They were both in the finals. Femke, she saw in a press conference afterwards that she faded at the end. She barely got the bronze medal, which is still great. But they showed her at the end. Her parents were sitting next to Sydney's parents, and Sydney was celebrating, which she should have, absolutely. And Femke was crying with her parents. And I understand that part, but my thing is, you still got the bronze. You're the third best at that particular day. You're the third best in the world. Yeah, I know you're one of the top 2 in the world. You got third best. The first person broke the world record. No one's ever run faster than that. Brenda Leon Merchant from France broke his records. I love to watch him swim. Yeah, that's the dude from France. He broke all the world records for what's his name? Michael Phelps. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that was great. I'm watching this now. I don't know what they're showing now. But anyway, I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah. So but Femke came in third. She was crying with her parents. I don't know if it was a cry of joy or cry of, oh man, I really effed up, which I saw in a press conference afterwards where the 3 ladies were at the press conference, which I thought was great. And the reporters did a good job. They were asking Femke questions. Well, they was asking Sydney questions. Of course, she broke the world record, but they didn't ask the second place girl, who was a U.S. girl. I think her name was Cochran or something like that. She did great as well. She was fantastic. So there's no question. But I don't recall or seeing the reporters ask her any questions, which I thought was pretty crappy to have her come out there and no one ask her questions. But they asked Sydney and they asked Femke questions, and Femke said her own fault. She went out too hard and she died at the end, and she did. You can visually see it. Unfortunately, that's what she did. She made up for it in the women's 4x400. She was put in a position where there's no way they were going to win because the U.S. was so far in front. So she got the baton on the last lap with she was in the 4th place. She stormed to get the stormed up there to get the silver medal. So cheers to you, Femke. Again, if you ever see this, anybody know her, show her this, tell her to contact me. I'd love to have her on my show and talk to her. She's fantastic. She also has a very high-pitched voice, so there's no way you can say that she's a guy. Speaking of which, I bring this up because there's the debate going on online everywhere about this boxer, a female boxer. Well, shouldn't say that. A person who is boxing in the female division. I personally think this person is a male. Why? Because this person has XY chromosomes. This person has been banned from different competitions because they have XY chromosomes. You cannot compete, or you should not be able to compete against women if you're a man. And people say, yeah, but it was a birth defect, blah, 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 blah. The dude has XY chromosomes. No denying that. There's no, as far as I can read, I'm not a doctor. I have no zero skin in the game. When it boils down to it, has zero effect on my life whatsoever. I could really care less, honestly. I don't like it when guys compete against women in physical athletics. I don't think it's correct. I don't think it's right. They should not do that. Just like that damn swimmer, the guy swimmer who was in the women's NCAA swimming things. Dude's disgusting. I'm sorry, this guy's disgusting. Brenda says she has a vagina, according to some reports I've seen. She has an XY chromosome. That means it's a male. That means he is a male, XY chromosomes. Again, we can debate this all you want, Brenda. You want to come on and debate it with me? It's great. Everything I've read, everything I've seen, again, I have no skin in the game. I don't have a dog in the hunt. I could really care less. When it boils down to it, has no effect on my life whatsoever. It has no effect on your life whatsoever. I'm just saying males should not compete with females in athletic competition. It's just that simple. If you think it's okay for this guy to do it, great. That's your opinion. I don't think it is. I also don't think it's okay for a guy to swim against the girls in that collegiate thing. The guy has he's swinging his package around in the locker room. Yeah, girls have seen it when he changes in the locker room. He's swinging there in the breeze. Brenda, you agree 100% on, I don't know which part you agree on. I'm going to assume you agree on it doesn't has an effect on us whatsoever. I'm assuming that's what you mean. You agree on that. And have no dog in the fight, no dog in the hunt. If I had a daughter competing somewhere, I would be outraged. I would be, oh man, you couldn't hold me back if I had a daughter competing in that. And I don't see how fathers are not saying stuff. I'm sure they are, but they're getting silenced by a lot of the Olympic committees and things of that sort. Brenda, men should not play female sports. Absolutely. I also read, and I don't know about this, if this is true or not. Oh, wow. The women's 110-meter hurdles. Wow. 100 meters hurdle. That's wow. But I read or I heard, I forget, I think I read this. A power lifter who was a male competed in the women's division and he broke all kinds of records, which is, dude, if you're watching this, you're a pussy. It's just that simple. I'm sure you can kick my ass, which is fine, but why are you competing against the chicks? Really, dude? Are you that hard up to get a medal that you can't compete against somebody your own size and strength? It just baffles me. I don't get it. You know, again, I'm sure you can kick my ass. I'm sure 99% of the ladies in the Olympics can kick my ass. I'm sure of that. So it's not about who's tough or who's not. It's about genetic makeup. It's just that simple. Physically speaking, men are stronger. Sorry, that's what it is. Physically speaking, not too many women can bench press what I can bench press. Physically speaking, again, they can kick my ass. I'm sure they can. I'm sure 99% of these athletes can. I don't care. Even the smallest swimmer, smallest gymnast can kick my ass. I'm sure they could. They can't bench press more than me. But that's the way it goes. And so that's that. Let me talk about some of the sports that I watched, some of the competitions that I watched. The women's road race, women's cycling. There is the chick from the US. I forget her name, and it's irrelevant really, unless you really are into it. but she wasn't even supposed to be in the women's cycling. Like a week before, 2 weeks before, whatever it was, the person who was in it said, you know what, I'm not feeling right, or she got injured or what have you, but she decided that she's not going to be able to participate in it. So they called up this other girl who was a mountain biker and says, hey, you want to do the road racing? She goes, well, sure. Why not? Now she took up biking. They said 10 years ago. She's in her early 20s. So of course, early teens when she was doing it. She got on that bike. I think they rode 150 miles that day or something like that. The last 10 miles, she picked up the pace, started picking off this rider, that rider, coming up to this one, passing this one, doing this, going up hills, going down hills. With like a mile and a half, 2 miles to go, her and two other girls caught up to the first two who were a couple minutes ahead of them. They caught up to them, and instead of riding four together to wait till the end, she just kept on going like a machine, man, and blew right by these folks. Holy hell. And she didn't let up, and she blew the field away and won the gold. She wasn't even supposed to be in the competition a few weeks beforehand, I do believe. So that was fantastic. And then she was on the velodrome, you know, where they around the track, bicycles on the track. She was in the what they call a team pursuit, where you have two teams of four on the track, and you both start off at the same time and do so many laps, and who has the best time. All right. And so she was in that. In every lap or so, they switch positions, and it's all about what they call drafting and power with that. It's all about drafting and power and this thing. And the U.S. Olympic girls, the women's team on this took the gold, and she was part of that as well. Wow, you talk about powerful. These girls were picking them up and putting them down like you wouldn't believe in the cycling thing. That was fantastic. So I like I like that. I like the sailboating. I call it the sailboat. I don't know what it's technically called. I don't know what it's called. That was fun to watch when I could find it. The rowing, I think, is fantastic. The two people, the four people, the 8 people in the boats rowing. I think that's fantastic. Again, couldn't find it. I don't know when it was on. NBC does a shitty job of covering it, so you didn't see much of it in the evenings. At least I didn't. That's where I was. It wasn't on. So NBC, you suck. Wish we would have covered more of it. But nope, we got to cover the gymnastics. You got to cover the diving. If you don't know what I think about that, go back to the beginning and watch it again. I talked about that earlier. The as we call it, ping pong is actually technically table tennis. That's cool to watch. The badminton, you talk about reflexes. The badminton, holy moly! It doesn't happen too much here in the United States, but overseas, wow! You talk about wow. No, they show around here. They got to show the basketball. We have the NBA players in there. I hope they can win. They're NBA players, for crying out loud. Best in the world. Another sport that shouldn't be there. Oh, speaking of that, what is this sport that they did? Breaking? What the hell was that? Breakdancing? Who judges that? And how do you judge that? Again, popularity contest. That's all it is. Not taken away from athleticism whatsoever. Athleticism is off the charts with these things. It's a popularity contest. We don't want to see it. Also, the horses. Hey, you want to ride a horse? Great, fantastic. Don't tell me that there's athleticism involved. You get on the horse and you ride it. You point the horse that way. If he wants to jump, he's going to jump. If the horses want to jump, guess what? It ain't jumping. You're not going to control that horse to jump or not. Yeah, you train the horse to jump, but you're not going to control it. It's going to jump whether it wants to or not. You're riding the horse. That's all you're doing. I had a girlfriend who was an equestrian rider, and she used to yell at me for that and get mad at me for that. It's what you do, right? That's what you do. That's how it works. So, what other events were there? The wrestling was cool to watch if you could find it. The judo, wish I could find it. Again, I know all these are on Peacock. Good luck finding them. I mean, again, NBC, you suck at the coverage. Have some of these things in prime time. Give the lesser competitions some things to a little love, will you? The bow and arrow shooting things, those were cool to watch. The pistol shooting, that's cool. What was that guy from Finland? Puts his hand in his pocket, basically puts a pistol out there, and boom, boom, boom. All these other guys were with these scopes on their pistols, on their eyes, doing all this kind of stuff, boom, boom, boom. And he got the silver medal, just put his hand in his pocket, and boom, there you go. All right. So it was pretty cool. So now, if you're watching NBC now, if you're watching me live, I would turn it to NBC right now, because the prime time here is Saturday night. My time is at 10 o'clock. They're doing the men's 4x100 meter relay, which I watched that today. So I actually watched it. So they're doing it again tonight. This was a good race. I would recommend you watch it if you haven't watched it yet. Keep me on in the background. Keep me on in the background, of course, and we'll do it that way. What other events did I watch? I wanted to see the speed walking, but I couldn't find it. I don't know where the hell it was. The men's marathon, I guess it was today. Women's marathon is supposed to be closing it out tomorrow. Fantastic. I watched some of the kayaking. That was neat. They have to go against the current. That was wild. The triathletes. Excuse me. I guess there was it in the Olympics? No, it was the CrossFit Games. There was some guy drowned in the CrossFit Games in that. Rest his soul. But the triathlon, would love to seen it. Didn't know when it was on. NBC, you're doing a shitty job of covering this stuff. Why don't you cover it more in the evenings? They show a little bit of the shot put, and this is the winning throw. Well, show more of it, for crying out loud. You have people who are fantastic commentary, like the three people doing the commentary now. I don't even know their names. Is Otto Bolin, I think, is one of the guys doing the commentary for the synchronized swimming was cool. I agree with you. Again, that's a popularity contest. It's being judged. It's a popularity contest. Nothing against the swimmers, nothing against athleticism. They are fantastic athletes. It is a judged contest. I do not want to see judged contests. I don't think they're fair. It's just me. You're not beating somebody to a line. You're not running faster. You're not jumping higher. You're not lifting more. You're not throwing further. You're not scoring more points. You're not doing anything like that. Just somebody's looking at you and saying, oh, yeah, I like what they did, so I'll give them a high score. Or, I don't like the way they look. I will give them a low score. Sorry, that's just the way it is. You can tell me all you want that it's something differently, but that's exactly what it is. It's a popularity contest. Okay, so here we go. The men's 4x400 meter relay. If you haven't seen it before, start watching it. You'll get a kick out of this. It's a great race. Came down to the wire. So, matter of fact, I'm going to turn it up here so I can watch this as well. Again, here we go. All right, here we go. The world record is 2 minutes and 54 seconds. I think the Olympic record is somewhere close to that as well. So we'll see who does it here. So what they do is it's 4 laps around the track, and every lap they hand off to somebody different. And whoever comes in first crosses the line wins. See, no judging. The fastest person across the line wins. Simple as that. Okay. Right now, Italy is ahead because of the stagger. It's the way it looks. And if you don't understand what the stagger is, it's hard to explain without seeing it. So I'm not going to bother with it. But the first handoff comes to it's several people involved with it. Okay. It's several people. There was several teams that came in at the same time, basically handed off at the same time. Now is when they get spread out a little bit. And right now, Team USA is in third place, and there's a tight knit for all 4 places. Okay, I think Great Britain's in front, France, and then the US, and I don't know who's in third place right now. But the US guy's coming up. The final 100 yards, he's 100 meters, and he's pushing it big time. I think he's the old man. They say he's the 32-year-old in this field. Gets off to the leg number 3, and this guy takes off like a rocket, and he puts him in the front. So right now, Team USA is in 3rd place. The guy took off, and right away, you think he's going way too fast. He's going to burn out at the end. So we'll see what happens here. And I think France is number 2, and I don't know who's number 3. I forget the. I don't say, but this guy in the U.S. he's not letting up. He's taking off. Matter of fact, he's spreading out a little bit more. Okay, now he's dying a little bit, and the guy who's in 2nd place, which is not France, it's the other one. Tobago, something like that. Okay, last lap. Here we go. U.S. and Tobago, I think it's called. And these two guys, number 1 and 2, they're running. They're ahead of the field big time, and you can tell that they're just cat and mousing each other. One guy's running softer, the other guy's running harder, but they both look very, very relaxed at this point. Coming around 200 meters to go. The U.S. is still in front. Here comes the guy. He's running on the outside of him, trying to reel him in. And they're less than a meter apart. 200 meters to go. It's the 200-meter gold medalist, and I think the 200-meter silver medalist going here. And Tobago. And the U.S. wins it by about that much. Talk about a race. It was Great Britain that came in 3rd, not France. It was Great Britain. Fantastic race. If you watch the 400 meters, you'll watch this and you'll say, wow, that's a fantastic race. Love that. So anyway, so that's what's going on with the Olympics. I'm not going to stay much longer to give you commentary. You can watch it yourself. I think next week I'm going to be on here. We're going to talk about a lot more in-depth stuff, but I want to come in and talk about a few things like I did. Talk about that. And I'm going to be coming on more throughout the week if you want to start watching here, and we can go that route. But for the time being, for right now, I'm going to stop it. Thank you for being here. Again, popcorn and whiskey with wine this time. Cheers. Brenda, thanks for being here. All the other people watching. Tobago is pronounced Tobago. All right. Thank you, Brenda. Tobago. Fantastic. Those guys, that was a great race. I have to watch that replay again. It's the second time I watched it today. I forgot how exciting that was. Okay. All right. I'm going to stop it here because I know my girl Femke is going to be coming on here in a second again. So I'm going to watch her again. Love Femke. Oh. Again, Femke, if you ever see this, contact me. I'll put you on and we can chit chat. Oh, be still my heart, Femke Bowl. People are going to say, really? Femke Bowl? Yeah, really, Femke Bowl. There you go. Okay. So until next time, thanks for being here. My name is Andrew. I'm the face who runs the place. Maybe I'll come on later tonight. Who knows? But right now, I'm signing off. Till next time. Ciao.